As we mentioned, it appears the ceasefire in the Middle East is now over, as overnight Israel launched massive attacks on Gaza.
Yeah, Newsmax Middle East correspondent Zach Anders is live for us this morning in Tel Aviv with the very latest. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning. Israel has returned to attacking Hamas. The ceasefire that lasted for roughly 2 months has collapsed. Dozens of airstrikes blasting across the Gaza Strip at approximately 2 in the morning and continuing. Several key Hamas leaders rumored to have been killed or targeted. The Hamas-run health ministry claiming more than 320 are dead. Prime Minister Netanyahu's office declaring that from now on, Israel will act against Hamas with increasing military strength. The fate of 24 remaining hostages who Israel believes are still alive, now facing a grim picture, with Hamas having refused to release them through weeks of strained negotiations. Deadly airstrikes shook tens of thousands awake. Some Gazans in the north of the Strip, around the most populated city, report hearing 20 explosions in under 2 minutes at the start of this campaign. The renewed and powerful air campaign comes after the IDF claims they monitored an increase in activity, Hamas reassembling its forces. One Israeli source telling us the IDF even believed Hamas was staging to attempt another invasion into Israel this week. During the ceasefire that began in mid-January, 33 Israeli hostages and 5 Thai nationals from Thailand, farm workers who had been abducted by Hamas as well, were released in exchange for some 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. The vast majority of the original 251 hostages having been freed, not by force, but by ceasefire deals. Less than 10 have been rescued by the IDF. 3 Israeli hostages have been mistakenly killed by IDF ground forces in Gaza throughout this brutal war. The Hostage Families Forum making an emergency appeal, stating the hostages are in grave danger, calling on thousands of Israelis to take to the streets in Jerusalem, a crowd that's growing as we speak. And just like when this war first began, evacuation notices sent to the people of Gaza, warning them to leave areas near the border fence with Israel. As IDF ground forces show increasing strength around the Strip, reservists called back into duty. Senior military sources in Israel sharing expectations with us that the ground campaign will resume, but that there will be a window here to test to see if Hamas will relent and accept the deal on the table. This morning, Hamas is claiming they want to resume the ceasefire and accept a deal. They had rejected new terms last week. They continue to call for a complete end of the war as part of their demands to release these hostages. No rockets have been fired into Israel as of now, as it's also unclear what Hamas's capabilities are after 16 months of Israel degrading their forces. We are monitoring for ground engagement, as the IDF still has a heavy presence sealing off the Egyptian border, with troops staged in a central corridor that splits the Gaza Strip in 2 as well. This as Syria and Hezbollah are fighting to our north, Israel striking in Syria and Lebanon as well, while the Houthis are being hit by one of the largest U.S. air campaigns of this decade. What will Iran do? And does this collapse of the ceasefire in Gaza lead to a collapse of the ceasefire in Lebanon? We're monitoring the Middle East at war, and we'll bring you the events as they happen here, guys, on Newsmax.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.